Welcome back, extraterrestrials, to the X-Files franchise breakdown. We're doing episode 2 this week, and episode 2 is Mulder and Scully investigate the mysterious case of a military test pilot who disappeared after experiencing strange psychotic behavior. Simple as that. There's no double plot line to this one. It's the one plot line episode, and I love it. Alright. This episode stars a very, very, very young, very high Seth Green. Yeah. So this episode is just about a test pilot that vanishes, and then they go to investigate why he vanished.
Yeah. What's the episode called, Jacob?
Deep Throat.
Deep Throat. That's right. Why is it called Deep Throat?
I mean, the character Deep Throat is introduced into the episodes.
Yes. And I think that's, other than the pilot story, I think this episode really, like, the bulk of this, what we need to talk about, is a character being introduced, Deep Throat. His name really isn't fucking Deep Throat. It just, they call him that due to the similarities from the Watergate guy that talked about the Watergate.
Got a file on him too.
Yeah.
His real name is Ronald Pakula.
Yeah, his character, I think, is the most important moment in this episode. He comes to Fox and says that this case with this pilot is not worth investigating.
Yeah.
Don't do it. The military will not tolerate an FBI investigation on their base.
Right.
So Mulder automatically knows, even being warned, don't do this because you might get yourself into some shit that you can't even get yourself out of.
Yeah.
It really is a grim warning from a person who you kind of want to listen to. That is what this episode really says to me. That, yeah, the truth is out there, Mulder. But you might not want to hear what the truth is. Also, in the beginning of the episode, we have a raid. We have a SWAT raid on this military pilot's house. I want to commend the people that did the makeup for this guy because he's got some kind of rash or burn, and man, that makeup looks good. It doesn't look overly pustule, kind of cartoony. No, it looks like that guy showed up on set like that, and the director was like, just shoot it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because that is gnarly.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed makeup and the whole thing with Deep Throat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Deep Throat gets introduced out of nowhere, essentially.
Yeah.
Mulder and Scully are having drinks at a bar, and Mulder goes to the bathroom, and Deep Throat appears and basically warns him to stay away from this case. And before he can figure out who he is or what he's really about, he almost gets no chance to talk to him whatsoever. Deep Throat disappears.
Yeah.
And Mulder does not heed the warning. They go to investigate anyways. And they find themselves at a base that is not Area 51, but still has UFO activity. They're basically on a stakeout. Mulder is intently watching the base and the sky above the base. Scully is sleeping in the car, and suddenly you see flying saucers. He calls Scully over. She sees them as well. And they see two teenagers run out of the guarded off-limits area. And they chase them down and talk to him about what they've experienced, how many times they've been there. And this is where Seth Green comes in because he is one of those teenagers.
Yeah.
He puts on his best stoner act, and it's pretty entertaining because it's kind of horrible. As somebody that I know smokes weed, he could not portray somebody that smoked weed. It was very 90s, half-baked style stoner-rific.
That's exactly what they look like, as he says.
He holds the hamburger up and he's like, yeah, man. Like,
come in all close and they go, hee, hee. Like, start making sound effects.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But, they're told to not go back to the base. They're chased down by some base officials. And they're told not to go back.
Once again, all of their evidence of this
all the
is ruined. And
everything else is all taken away from them, all destroyed. And he goes back one more time.
Yeah,
he goes back by himself this time.
I'll get into that where, I'll get into that at the end because of my analogy of the episode, really. But, yeah, he goes back.
And this time he does not get away.
No.
He is captured. And throughout the episode, you meet a reporter for the local newspaper that finds out FBI's in town, and he starts asking questions, wants to interview them, whatever. At the point where Mulder's taken by the people at the base, you see Scully start to wonder where he is and start to go look for him, and said reporter shows up again. And
shady.
She talks to him, and as she's talking to him, she hears his walkie-talkie go off, and boom, all of a sudden you realize he's not a reporter, he works at the military base, and he's trying to get intel on them, and he attacks her, and she gets away, and takes him hostage, and returns to the base, and gets Mulder back.
Yeah.
And Mulder's very fuzzy and doesn't remember anything. That's essentially the episode. That's a quick rundown of the episode. Yeah. So let's dive into the episode.
Just dealing with the case in general, the X-File, not the deep throat stuff that we talked about earlier. Yeah, this is a failed mission because of Mulder's ambition for wanting to know the truth. To wanting to know what these UFOs are, or as they find out, military-grade UFOs. Technically not alien flying saucers, but military intelligence with extraterrestrial...
integrated extraterrestrial technology.
But because of his just... want to know,
his childlike eagerness to get into,
like the pilot that they were worried about and stuff. That's old news.
That goes by the wayside real quick.
Yeah, he comes home and it's like, he's fine, minus pulling his hair out and making fishing lures and stuff.
In a survival situation, that does work, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, but Mulder is just, he was told by Deep Throat, don't do this shit. Mm-hmm. And Mulder did not listen to him. And not only did they take all his evidence, they took his memories. Mm-hmm. He says that. How did I get here? I have no memory of it. And at the end of the episode, he says it again. He says, it was taken from me. Mm-hmm. Just like his evidence, his proof of... if you can prove the military is using alien-grade weapons, you can prove that the United States government has had contact with extraterrestrials. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think he's after. But because he's so ambitious to do so and find out, his Pandora's box, he opens it up, and because of his, his want
Right.
he messes everything up. I think another important thing to talk about is this is the episode I think that Scully truly has had a fucking enough. In the first episode, we didn't mention Scully gets the butt end of a gun slammed in her head. And this one, the guy breaks glass all over her from a window, and she's just had enough. She's just holding that gun. Her FBI instincts kicks in, and even though this guy is an important guy on a base that she can negotiate with to get Mulder released, she would have shot that guy point blank in the brain if they would have dared mess with her.
Yeah.
And Scully's a badass 24/7. Mulder is a badass now and again. He can kind of, but Scully is always that queen bitch. You don't fuck with Scully.
There is the only one issue with her shooting that guy is she has one bullet in her gun. I don't know if you noticed that. It's a continuity thing that I didn't want to see it, but I saw it and now it's there. When they pull the film out and stuff, and they unload their guns when they pull them over the first time, the guy pulls the clip out of her gun, and you can see through the clip, and it's just a spring all the way up, and there's one bullet in the top. So,
another good talking point is Scully has now changed her hairstyle to be from very long flowing, very young looking to now she is sporting the Hillary Clinton do, which was popular in the 90s. Just high and tight, you know, her hair.
The working woman's hair.
Yeah, pantsuit galore. But Scully now, and I believe her hairstyle will change all through the episodes.
Constantly changes.
But yes, this is, I think the focus of this episode is the Deep Throat character. I think when we get to that, he says some of the best lines. They've been here for a long, long time. And I can provide you with information, but only as long as it's in my best interest. We don't know much about this character, but as a regular viewer, I can say that we are going to find out more of what that line means in his best interest, his being the organization that he works for.
Syndicate.
Yes. So that is the character to really look out for in this episode.
That brings me to another thing, and if you haven't, I assume when you're watching this episode, you've seen this show, you've seen this series, and that's why you're here, because you want to see what we say. There is no interest for him in this. Deep Throat has no reason to hand over information to Mulder, except for the fact that Mulder's father was part of the syndicate with Deep Throat and the Smoking Man.
Spoiler!
So he's only trying to keep Mulder safe.
Yeah.
As a favor to his father.
That's
the only thing I can think of, because there's nothing in it for him. He already knows everything. He holds all the cards. Why even give him the slightest information?
I think another reason is that at the time he knew that because of the pilot, the last episode we witnessed, that, okay, now he's getting somewhere. This character, Mulder, he's found small bits of proof, He's found this, he's going to keep going further. It's not going to stop. He knows someone in Congress they talk about. Yeah. But before then, I don't, because there is no pre-X-Files, we don't know how much he knew beforehand.
Right.
But I think what the idea is that incident in the last episode where Scully came and gave that device to them, they went back and they said, okay, he's getting a little closer.
Yeah.
And Deep Throat was like, I'm going to go have a talk with him.
Yeah.
Because if he can give any information that he can give Mulder to advance his pursuit. you know.
So you think that they're using him like a hound dog?
Yes.
Like, go find what we want.
Yes.
Okay.
That, you know, I believe in an episode in the future, Smoking Man says, I can use you for what I want, for when I need it and stuff. But when he becomes too rogue, that's when the Smoking Man can take him out. As a matter of fact, I mean, we don't learn that until next season, but that'll be a while, ladies and
Again,
gentlemen.
we assume you've seen this
Yes.
show, so we may make points that my point was that he's protecting Mulder, and it refers to a later situation. Did you find out later?
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is the UFO bar. He's like, where's the hot spot for the UFOs and stuff? And the spy reporter says, oh, there's like a UFO bar.
There it was, just hovering, quiet like a hummingbird. For a minute there, I thought it was going to land in the parking lot and I was going to have to serve him lunch. I'm selling limited edition prints, $20. Down to my last 5 if you're interested.
Put it on my tab.
Sucker.
And I guarantee Mulder was like, yeah, we know about that we were going to go there anyway, but we just wanted to make sure there wasn't another place. Yeah.
Well, I think with again bringing up that reporter that actually works for the military base, I think that this really this really brings into effect trust no one.
Yeah, DTA.
It's a big, it's a big line throughout the series. It's a well-known line. It's on all the posters, T-shirts, hats, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think that this is the first time you see it.
Yeah.
Because somebody who looks innocent and, is holding a pen and paper with a dorky pair of glasses and looks, like he wouldn't, have any sort of aggressive bone in his body.
Yeah.
Don't trust him because look what happened. So I think that that's the first time we really see don't trust no one. Trust no one because everybody, and even at this point, he still is weary of Scully.
Yeah.
He is this one of the episodes where he's like, I have to want to trust you, or I want to need to trust you, or something along those lines. He basically is like, I've got no choice but to trust you. So, don't.
I would need to know that I can trust you.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that is always Mulder's thing because his trust level is depleting. The more he learns,
Right.
the less he can trust.
Right.
Because of even this simple thing of Deep Throat talking to him, he finds out now that after he talked to him, his phone's being tapped.
Yeah.
Why is this phone being tapped? Well, because
Scully also finds out that too.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason she goes to look for him, is she finds out her phone's being tapped.
Yeah.
So even now, she's starting to see what Mulder is putting up with through his investigations before her.
Yeah.
So I think that also draws them closer together, not just sexually, but as a partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that when Mulder is on the base, do you think that they only took the memory of what he saw on base from him, or do you think they took more than that?
No, I think it was just, they are just trying to, I don't think they could go in and delete files like a computer,
Right.
but I think that they could.
Well,
I think when he says, how did I get here? I think they just erased a couple hours, not
Yeah, I don't. See, that's the thing. They didn't just roofie him.
Yeah.
They have to have more technology because they erased the pilot's career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that spanned 10 years. So they were able to pinpoint his memory of everything that he had done in the military through the 10-year course.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could pinpoint certain things in the memories.
It's everything to do with this base. I forget the base's name. I think
Yeah.
it's in the file. I know that's a real base. It's not the same name, but there
Right.
is a base that's based. There is a base that is.
There's a base that this base is based on.
off of. Yeah, fucking hell. But I know there. But I think anything that has to do with being on the base, what he saw on the base, how he even got in that fence. I mean, even like he forgot Seth Green probably completely and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think.
But
think
not,
about that.
you know, he knew why he was there because they go back to see the pilot.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Like, how did that not reignite everything? You know what I mean? Like, how did he not go? Well, let's go check out. You know, how did the episode not end with him going? Let's go check out that base.
I think it's like kind of
Scully's kind of like, no, dum. We've already done that. I've already saved you once.
Yeah, you know when you have a dream and you remember that dream and you're trying to tell somebody, but the second that you start telling somebody, it just starts fading.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
when by the time that he tells Scully that he has no recollection of being here, it's like, okay, I remember. Then he said something and it was just fucking gone. And now he's sitting there being like, you were there and I was there and there was like water, you know. And then
The house was a fire truck, and then
yeah.
I mean, he basically comes out of the base in a daze.
Yeah.
And maybe they did roofie him, and he gets in the car and he's like, I don't remember anything. They took my memory.
Yeah.
And you know, it's eerie, and again, I go back to the trust no one. Like, if your own government is going to do that to you to keep a secret, I don't understand why this show wasn't one episode. Him trying to investigate, them going, look, this is what we have. Shut up.
Yeah. Well,
Because he's not trying to tell people. He's in it for his own reasons. He wants to know what happened to Samantha. Like, so.
but by learning this could blow the whole thing off. And like they said, this is under grounds of national security. You know, all of this stuff, if this stuff even leaks out to one person,
Yeah. Okay.
Mulder's going to be living in Russia. You know? So, yeah, I mean, it's that grounds of national security.
All right. Do you have a favorite part of this episode? Other than, obviously, Seth Green and his hamburger.
I'm going Deep Throat. Deep Throat is just everything that shows him on there because he is such an important character and everything. You know, when we got the first episode, we're just learning about we're just learning about, like, okay, X-Files, it's about UFOs. It kind of is, it's good, you know, but when you start understanding that there is a character that's behind the scenes that is now trying to give him information, I think that really sparks your imagination.
Like, where's this going?
Yeah, but there is no particular scene because this is a failed attempt. This is not them at their highest moment. This is them at their lowest moment. They come back to Washington defeated. This X-File is not solved. So,
All right. Well, that is episode 2, Deep Throat. If there's any points that you think were valid that we made, or you have a point of your own, please feel free to leave a comment and tell us what you think. This is essentially an open discussion. So tune in next week for episode 3.